In today's episode of Pathmonk Presents, please join me in welcoming Brandon Ho, VP of Marketing at Oxeye, experienced in cybersecurity, renowned marketer, and known for taking calculated risk and helping scale tech startups. So for all of you who don't know, Oxeye is known for removing the biggest frustrations with legal application security tools, being able to make the process more seamless, for software vulnerabilities and to ensure better security overall. Brandon, it's an honor to have you on our show today.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Mariah.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So for all of our listeners out there, give us a quick run through. What does Oxeye do? What do you guys specialize in?
So Oxeye at its core is what's called an application security testing company. And the landscape is pretty old. The industry as a whole is about over 2 decades old. The big difference is that the way software is written today is vastly different from the way it used to be written 20 plus years ago. And the majority of the tools that are on the market were developed for a completely different software architecture and software paradigm, if you will. So what Oxeye does is to address the unique and specific needs of modern day applications. And as a result of that, we greatly simplify the application security process and lower both the cost of tools as well as the operational costs associated with application security.
Sweet. Amazing. Very good. Now, what is the problem that you solve for your clients overall? And, who are your clients and from what industry?
So as far as industries go, we're completely agnostic. Any company that writes software, and really that's almost any industry today or every industry today, there's some sort of software or application component to those industries. We help them to reduce what's called noise of doing application security by a significant percentage. That means that the software developers can actually spend more time writing product or developing product as opposed to trying to solve for security issues. That's our main value proposition.
Sweet. Amazing. Now, what is your top client acquisition channel? Would it be digital marketing, inbound, outbound? Which one?
Yeah, so the cybersecurity market is pretty unique in that the buying cycles are generally quite long. I've been at the company for about a little under 8 months now. We've done everything from event marketing to running LinkedIn ads and Google ads, and pretty much everything under the umbrella of marketing. And I would say that right now, at least, the one that seems to be paying off or yielding the most dividends or rewards for us has actually been live events. And a part of that is because it's very, very challenging to get to our buyers. There are something like 35 or 3,600 cybersecurity companies in the world vying for very much the same slice of the pie, if you will. Granted, there are different parts of the pie, but the people who are decision makers within the organizations that we want to sell to are being bombarded with messages, and it's very, very difficult to distinguish what's real from what's not. And these are people who already have busy jobs to do. I mean, they don't have time to sift through the noise. And actually, being at live events is really refreshing in that we actually have a chance to initiate and actually have a conversation and learn more about their needs and what it is that they find ails them in their organizations, and see if we can actually solve for those issues. We cannot always solve for them, or we cannot always help, but it's great to know that that there's a level of transparency and honesty that comes in these live one-to-one conversations that enables us to pinpoint them, the need more accurately, so we can determine if that the person that we're talking to is indeed a real potential customer or not. I would say that that's been definitely the most significant, or I guess most effective channel for us. Now, granted, that's expensive to do, but the ROI is certainly there.
Yeah, it is expensive, but as you said, the ROI is definitely there. Plus, I think it's also wonderful with having that one-to-one because you're able to
Absolutely.
add the human element as well with your, potential customers and then your leads where, you leave them with, that memory of who Oxeye is
Sure.
overall. Yeah, definitely. Now, On the other hand, let's talk about the website. What would
Sure.
you say are the major strengths of your website? And then what areas of the website could be improved, in your opinion?
Yeah, so when I joined, the website looked very, very different from where it is today. And I didn't come in and make changes just because I was the new marketing guy, but we suffered from a lack of clarity about what it is that we do and the value that we provide and who we provide it for. Um, so a little bit of background info. I used to run an agency. I ran my own marketing agency for like 10 plus years. So I was actually on the agency side for a long time. And most website projects that I personally worked on were multi-month long projects. They took a long time to do. There was so many levels of hierarchy on the client side that needed to get approval or provide input or feedback. So they took a long time. So I understand that could be a major issue for us when we decided to embark on a new website refresh, if you really a renovation, if you will. Uh, but before we did all that, we went through a positioning exercise to make sure that we were nailing down precisely who our target customer is, what our real value proposition is, uh, honing in on like the best ICP for us, and then I told our agency, okay, we're gonna redo our website. We're gonna do it over a period of months, but we're gonna focus on the two main pages that people are likely to care about the most. Of course, the homepage. We got to make sure that it's clear, it's crisp. The value proposition that we provide has to be super precise and hopefully catchy and hook someone into continuing to read or check out the rest of the website. And the other one was the product page. The product page actually describes how it is that we accomplish what we do, because it's vastly different from how things are done today. And for our main persona, if you will, an application security person, they're going to want to know what is different about what we do, because they've heard all the claims about better this and better that throughout their entire careers, and they're highly skeptical. And the proof is in the pudding, if you will. So when we can show what it is that we do in the way that we do it and how it's different, then we're more likely to gain their trust. So we did that the first two pages, and then we've slowly been rolling out design changes and copy page changes and additions over the last, I'd say, 2+ months. In terms of what I think is best right now, I think it's we're continually running copy experiments. I think we're at a point now where we have a clear and unique differentiator in terms of when someone lands on our homepage, they can see immediately that we're not just making some sort of generic claim, that we have a very pinpoint and very specific claim that we can make. It's backed by data that we can show them whenever we initiate a conversation with them. And of course, I like the updated look and feel of the site. It's much more contemporary compared to what used to be there.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when I was looking at the website, the way it draws the user in, the way it's designed, the call to action is very clear. That I agree with you,
Yeah.
100%.
There's still a lot of room for improvement. I mean, but we're at a point where we're not larger companies are trying to optimize for conversion. We're just trying to get people interested in reading the rest of the site at this point.
Yeah, with the plan that you have in place, it makes sense. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
We want to talk about you as a leader. So what do you do for work on a daily basis?
We are a seed stage startup, so everything necessary to ensure that we are generating healthy pipeline and closing on deals. We do not have a formal VP of sales, so I really double up as for lack of a better phrase, like a chief revenue officer, if you will. Now, technically speaking, our CEO is the person who is responsible for sales overall, but he's an extremely busy guy. And so I take on the responsibilities of working, I don't want to say managing, but I collaborate with our sales team, and have daily stand-ups. We have adopted an agile sales methodology. So that means we're continually strategizing and executing at the same time, almost on a daily basis, doing micro experiments, trying to slice and dice how should I put it, our outreach in a way that optimizes our actual efforts. And we do that by combining data that we acquire from companies like Seamless and Bombora and so on and so forth in terms of intent data to make sure that the messaging that we are um, putting out there or reaching out to people with is extremely targeted and hopefully piques their interest because it relates to something that they are that is unique to them and that they find challenging. So that's a lot of my time. I also write content. We are spinning up a podcast. This is the first time we've publicly announced it, but we're in the process of getting guests as well as doing recording. And really everything that needs to be done. There's so many things that need to be done on a continual basis on a marketing operations side, cleaning up the CRM, making sure that we're equipping ourselves with as much relevant data as possible to make the decisions that we need to make on a day-to-day basis. And my whole philosophy about marketing, and I'll just share this really quickly because I think it's important in terms of how I view marketing and why I approach my daily activities the way I do. I actually interviewed the VP of sales at AT&T, a VP of sales at AT&T many years ago when I ran my own marketing agency, and this thing stuck with me. He said, in the early days, we could afford to hire lots of salespeople, so we did. But as the market grew, we realized that we couldn't have one salesperson for every account or every set of accounts, so we ended up doing marketing. And so my philosophy is that marketing is effectively sales, but at scale. And as much as possible, we want to try to tailor the message, the approach in a very kind of a collaborative and consultative approach, and make sure that what we're saying is what people want to hear or care about, instead of just blasting out some generic message and saying, "Hey, look at us, we're great, we can do this," but not really hitting the mark, if you will, for the majority of people who receive our messages. So everything that I do on a day-to-day basis has that goal in mind.
No, I love that. And I love how, you've carried that without you through your career and how it's helped you get this far. I think that's incredible. So now we're going to shift gears.
Sure.
And we're going to go into rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What is the last book you read?
It's the last book I read is one of the first books I recommend whenever I talk to someone who is interested in really understanding marketing. It's a book called Breakthrough Advertising. It was written by a very successful copywriter who wrote copy in the day of direct mail. I mean, I'm talking about postcards that you receive in your mail, not in the era of digital advertising or not in the era of digital yet. His name is Eugene Schwartz. If you go to Amazon, you'll find that the book costs about $400. There is a much cheaper way of getting it. So if anyone is interested in checking out the book, look for Titans Marketing, and they've secured the reprint rights, and as a result, you can get the book for a lot cheaper. Now, it still costs about $140, but to me, it's one of two Bibles that I recommend to anyone interested in marketing. It really dives down into the psychological underpinnings of why people buy. And although it's targeted primarily at, it's more of a B2C book, really, more than anything else. But the reality is, psychology is psychology. People's wants and needs are very much the same. And I apply those learnings into, I've applied them in consumer-related products in the past. Actually, I launched my own product many years ago and sold it that way and used those learnings there. But in terms of B2B too, that people want the same things ultimately. They want as easy a life as possible. And if you can provide it to them by offering some sort of value that enables that, then those lessons are very much applicable.
I love that. I'm going to check out that book. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to make a note. I'm going to check it out. Amazing. So we're coming to the end of our interview now. And I want to thank you for joining us today. And I also want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything that we have talked about on the interview today, what is one thing that you want them to remember about your company?
Uh, One thing that I want people to remember about our company, I would say overall, I'd say that we're solving a real pressing need in a way that's different. And it's not just about the technology, but we're genuinely offering a legitimate value, if you will. And this, I think another thing I want people to walk away with is, although it's really, really difficult to cut through the noise, we are, at least while I'm still here, we are committed to the idea of trying to cut through the noise and reach our potential customers and share messages that resonate with them in a way that's respectful of their time and their intellect. And I spoke to a CISO yesterday, a Chief Information Security Officer, who is a potential customer. He wasn't a potential customer, but he told me that uh, the the number of messages that they get and the types of messages that they get are really I don't know, they're very offensive at times to his intellect. So I just want people to remember that we're trying to do the right thing, but in many ways, as many ways as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Especially within, this type of industry, transparency and honesty is everything. So I agree with you. Well, thank you so much again for joining us on Pathmonk Presents. It was an honor to get to know more about you and as well as Oxeye. And for all of our listeners out there, check us out next episode.